Hello, this is Mike. In this screencast, I want to focus on one of the key steps in the social media planning cycle, identification of the target audience. In particular, I want to take the basic principle of segmentation and think about how we need to understand different segments of the market better in order to craft a message appropriate to that particular audience. And in this screencast, I want to outline just one very common approach used in the social media world, as well as elsewhere, the persona technique, and briefly define what a persona is and how personas can be developed and aid us in our marketing strategy. So, by way of a quick recap, the logic of market segmentation. We take the aggregate audience for our marketing message, the total population perhaps. We group segments of that market together into subgroups on the basis of distinct characteristics. They may be purely geographical, but often there'll be geodemographic and psychographic factors taken into consideration too. And in our marketing, we need to select the market segments that we want to reach, and on the basis of those common characteristics we've identified, put together a distinct message that will hopefully resonate with existing and potential customers. That's the logic of segmentation. What I want to think about in the rest of this presentation is what the characteristics of those segments are and how we flesh them out a little bit more. So, let's think about one technique that can help us, the development of personas. Personas are, in its essence, exemplars. They're typical members of an audience. They are the archetype of the person within that category. So if we have a group of people who all live on, say, the same housing estate, and they've got similar levels of income and occupational category and household size, etc., etc., what is the typical family like, or the typical member of one of those families like? What is their persona? Lurie encourages us to think of them as imaginary friends, and I think that's a good analogy. A persona is really a sketch of the type of person we think is the most typical of the group of people who make up a particular market category. It's as simple as that. It's the average customer we have for a particular product or brand, and some of their characteristics that bring them to life. And in the social media world, it's the typical member of a customer category that we might wish to reach with a particular social media channel or message. Personas can be put together from a variety of different data sources. First of all organizations will have internal and external experts. So the marketing and sales teams, for example, consultancies that we regularly work with, other members of the supply chain. If we're a manufacturer, then the retailer of our end product can often tell us a lot about the customers that can inform product design. So there'll be a range of internal, external experts that we can call upon for advice and data. We might subscribe to a commercial profiling system, typically a geodemographic one, maybe a psychographic one, something like Mosaic or Cohorts or Acorn, depending where we are in the world. In the social media world in particular, there will also be channel data we can draw on, sometimes from the main platforms such as Facebook and Twitter themselves, often from third-party data dissemination sources who put together internet metrics. So there's that data too. And once we get into that, we get into related areas of data that are specific to the internet and social media. Keyword data, web analytics, trending data, sentiment analysis, and so on. All of these are data sources that we can draw upon to help us put together a persona, a typical member of a particular market group. So, how are personas developed? Well, again, drawing on some of Lurie's work, sketching out a viable persona typically means brainstorming around key questions. Questions related to different characteristics of the typical market segment member, demographics, emotional characteristics, relationship characteristics, what are called pitch characteristics and impact characteristics. To help illustrate what these are, let me just briefly summarize some of the questions at each stage in this persona development process that we'd be trying to answer about the typical member of a segment. If we begin with demographic characteristics, well, these are probably the most straightforward and certainly the easiest to get data on. Who is this person and where does he or she live? What type of area do they live in? What's the climate like? We may be an international organization targeting people all over the world. So where do they live? What's that area like? What age group are they in? What type of job do they have? Are they married, single, divorced? Do they have children or not? If so, how many? What's their general ethnic background, level of education, their nationality, and so on. We might also want to think about any interest groups or societies that they belong to, their general style of living. It could be we're interested in accessibility issues, levels of technological expertise, and also some of the technologies they use to interact with each other and with other marketing organizations. So do they use chat programs, email, web-based forms? Are they accessing the internet predominantly via a home computer or office computer? Are they more likely to be a smartphone or tablet user? All of these type of things can help us begin to build up a picture of the typical person. We might then want to drill down deeper, drawing on some of the softer data we've been able to collect. How do they see themselves? What type of person are they? Where do they fit into some of the standard personality characteristics that we might be interested in terms of a potential customer? What are they after out of life? What are their day-to-day goals? Are they just trying to survive because they're on a low income, perhaps? Are they quite affluent and engaging in fun-loving and family-based activities? What do they like to do? How do they feel about life, about politics, about products and brands? What are their aspirations? What sort of person are they? We might want to drill down onto relationship characteristics. So and specifically the relationship with us and with competitors. Have they used our product before, for example? Do they know much about us? If so, when and where do they use it? What type of use is it? How do they interact with us? Is the person we're talking to the decision maker in a household? Are they the one who finds out about products but someone else makes the purchase decision? What's the general environment like where they're going to access the purchase of the product or service? Are they going to be shopping online or in a physical store? If it's online, well, are they doing it at home, in the office, on the train to work? Where are they doing this actual shopping? What hardware and software are they using? Are they using a smartphone? Are they an Apple user, in which case it's possibly the Safari browser they're using? What's the best way to reach them in terms of the technology? And how do they feel overall about different channels we might use to communicate with them or sell to them through, and so on. Then there are what marketers call the pitch characteristics. What is it that will trigger an interaction and hopefully a purchase? What converts this person into a customer, in other words? When they're buying, what's their main goal or purpose? How do they feel in the purchase process? Is it a fun product or service to buy? Is it something they just have to do? Some people enjoy, for example, eating out and going to restaurants. I'm not a very food-oriented person. Eating is just something I have to do, kind of like putting fuel in my car. So if I go to a restaurant, my needs and expectations are quite different to those who enjoy the social occasion of dining out. What frustrates or satisfies someone about the interaction with our product or our marketing channel? What are the main concerns they have? Do they worry about privacy or trust, for example, online? And what are their perceptions of value? What's good value to one person isn't necessarily good value to someone else. So how does all of this come together? What effect is the person likely to have on our business? This is a crucial one, because sometimes you can just have too many customers, and it may be that you want to cherry pick a little more. Credit card companies like to make money, obviously. They like to occasionally charge people interest, fees for late payment, all that sort of thing. I know a couple of people who were dropped by the credit card company because they use the card every month, and every month they pay their bill bang on time, and really the company makes very little money out of them. So, how much does it cost us to service this particular person, and is he or she worth retaining if they're a current customer? How long have they been a customer? Are they a new customer? How easy is it going to be to turn someone into a customer? How often are they likely to use the product or service if we do? And are there any other benefits to working with a particular type of customer? For example, sometimes you have to give a massive discount to capture a customer because they'll influence so many other people if you do. So think about these type of characteristics as well. So all of these different things have an impact on our business. Demographics, emotional characteristics, relationship characteristics, pitch characteristics, and the overall business impact. All of this is data that can help us build up a profile of the typical member of a market segment. And really, this silly little picture summarizes the whole persona approach. We take data in order to take a basic matchstick figure and flesh it out into something three-dimensional. This way, a member of a market segment ceases to be just a set of data and becomes a real person. And the more we can see them as real people, or at least imaginary friends representing the people in the segment that we're trying to reach, the more we can craft a marketing message that is talking to them as people rather than just as data. So that's a very brief introduction to audience profiling, and in particular the persona approach. It's about market segmentation, yes, but it's about processing that raw segmentation data to flesh out an imaginary person who nonetheless is a typical representative of the group of customers we want to target. Thank you very much.